What if I told you that you could capture his heart without saying a single word, that the strongest pull isn't found in chasing, begging, or proving, but in becoming a woman he can't stop thinking about, not because of what you say, but because of how you make him feel? A man is not drawn to words, someone wise once said. He's drawn to the fire behind your silence. That quiet, confident presence, that's what triggers something deep in him, something primal, his instinct to protect, to adore, to step up. That's what they call his hero instinct. And queens, when you awaken it without ever uttering a word, you don't just get his attention, you hold his soul. Let's be honest. You've done the talking. You've explained, texted first, apologized when it wasn't your fault. You've shown him your heart over and over, and still, it felt like he wasn't fully there. He liked you, maybe even cared, but he didn't rise. He didn't show up like the man you knew he could be. Why? Because he never had a reason to. Not a deep one, not an emotional one, not the kind that makes a man step into his best self just to be worthy of the woman in front of him. He never felt that quiet shift in you, the shift that changes everything. Think of the moon. The moon doesn't shout, doesn't run after the tides. It simply exists, serene, glowing, still, and yet it pulls oceans. That's what your energy becomes when you learn to trigger his hero instinct without trying to convince him. You stop being just another voice in the crowd. You become the stillness he craves, the mystery that haunts him, the woman he needs to rise for. And I know, right now, you might feel confused, even tired of trying to be understood, tired of wondering what more you can do. But hear this, there is nothing wrong with you. You were never asking for too much. You were simply asking the wrong man to rise when he hadn't felt the call yet. That call. It doesn't come from begging, it comes from becoming, from knowing that your presence, your silence, your grace can move mountains in his heart. You weren't born to chase, you weren't born to convince, you were born to reign, and when you start living like the queen you were always meant to be, without apology, without explanation, that is when everything changes. That is when he notices. That is when he feels the shift. That is when the hero inside him wakes up, all because of you. If this message touched something deep inside you, if it reminded you of the strength, the beauty, the quiet power you've always had, then show your love by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. We are here, working with heart and purpose, creating every word to help you rise, to guide you back to your throne, and to remind you that you were never meant to chase love. You were meant to inspire it. Number 1. Your silence is not emptiness. It's the echo of his absence. Have you ever noticed how quiet can suddenly feel loud? Not because of what's said, but because of what's missing. The silence that once felt peaceful now feels heavy, because he's no longer reaching out. He's no longer checking in. And you stopped talking. You stopped trying. And now, that silence is not emptiness. It's the echo of his absence in the space where you used to pour your heart, his absence in the moments where you once softened your voice just to keep peace. But now, there's nothing, and yet that nothing is the loudest thing he's ever felt. There is a quote that says, "Don't speak to prove your worth. Let your absence speak louder than your presence ever could." And queens, when you go quiet, not in anger, but in self-respect, it shakes something deep in him. You're not punishing him. You're not playing games. You're just done giving energy to someone who didn't rise to meet it. That's when his mind starts spinning. That's when he begins to feel your absence as a weight on his chest. Not because you said anything, but because you finally stopped. Think of a garden, a beautiful blooming garden that you tended to every day. You watered it, spoke life into it, kept it alive even when the sun didn't shine. But the moment you walk away, the moment your hands are no longer there to nourish it, things change, slowly, quietly. And soon, the one who ignored the garden starts noticing the withering leaves. That's when he realizes, you were the warmth, you were the light. And now, without you, nothing grows. Right now, lovely woman, your silence is not weakness. It is power. It is the stillness that makes him uneasy, because he can no longer hear the softness of your voice or feel the safety of your presence. And in that silence, his hero instinct stirs. He starts wondering where he went wrong. He starts realizing you don't need him. You chose him, and you can choose not to. That's the shift. That's the quiet fire that calls to the deepest part of a man. Without one word spoken, you've awakened something he didn't know he could feel. This is where you rise. This is where you begin to live, not as the woman who waits, but as the woman who reigns. You are no longer reaching for love. You are love, and now it's his turn to reach for you. Affirm this in the comments, queens. My silence is the loudest truth he'll ever hear. Write it, claim it, live it. And if this spoke to your heart, if it reminded you of the quiet strength you carry, then like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are here, working every day to bring you real, powerful, life-changing lessons. Because you were never meant to be quiet and small. You were born to rule. Number 2. When you walk in your worth, he feels the distance he created. Have you ever noticed how the moment you stop trying so hard, he starts paying attention? When you no longer chase, no longer explain, no longer shrink just to be loved, suddenly he feels the shift. It's not because you shouted. It's not because you begged. It's because you finally decided to walk in your worth. And when you do that, he feels the space between you, a space he created, a space that now speaks louder than words ever could. There's a quote that says, "A man doesn't notice your silence until it drowns out the sound of his comfort." That silence, that distance, it begins the moment you choose yourself, the moment you stop showing up where your presence was taken for granted. And let's be honest, you tried. You gave love, time, understanding, but every time he didn't choose you fully, he pushed you one step further away. And now he's starting to feel the gap between what he had and what he lost. Think of a lighthouse. It doesn't chase ships. It stands strong, steady, glowing in stillness. And the ship? It only realizes the value of that light when it gets lost in the dark. That's what happens when you live in your worth. You don't need to speak. You don't need to explain. You are the light, and if he let that go, let him feel the darkness now. You might not have seen it before, but now you do. Your energy is powerful. Your presence is a gift. And when you pull that back, not in anger, but in confidence, it hits him, not as guilt, but as realization. He sees that you are no longer in reach. He feels the emotional gap widening. He begins to wonder how he let you go. And right there, in that silence, in that space, his hero instinct wakes up. You were never too much. He was just too unaware. But now that awareness is rising, and you didn't even have to say a word. That's what happens when a woman steps into her power. That's what happens when a woman stops asking to be chosen and chooses herself instead. So now, lovely woman, let the world know what you've chosen. Write this in the comments and claim it. I walk in my worth and he feels it. We are here creating life-changing lessons because queens don't chase love, they awaken it. Number 3. A queen doesn't shout her value, she embodies it. Have you ever noticed how the loudest person in the room is rarely the one with real power? The real power is quiet. It moves differently, and in relationships, the same truth holds. The woman who knows her worth doesn't need to convince him. He feels it. She doesn't have to chase him, explain herself, or fight to be seen. She becomes unforgettable, not because she's loud, but because she embodies value without saying a word. A wise soul once said, "A lioness doesn't roar to prove she's a predator. The jungle already knows." That's exactly how a woman triggers his hero instinct. Not through noise, not through begging, but through presence. Through the way she carries herself, speaks with her silence, and shows him what a woman of worth truly looks like. And the moment he senses that shift, when she stops proving and simply becomes, that's when everything inside him changes. Think of a crown. A crown never explains why it shines. It doesn't beg for a place. It simply exists, bold, visible, powerful, and only the worthy reach for it. When you carry yourself with quiet confidence, when you stop asking him to show up and start showing up for yourself, you send the most powerful message, not with words, but with your glow, your grace, your grounded strength. Right now, he might think you're the same woman who once waited for his love, hoped for his attention, fought to be enough. But wait, watch, because when your energy changes, when you stop chasing and start choosing yourself, he will feel it, in his gut, in his chest. He won't know what happened, but he'll feel the pull, the need to step up, to earn you. That, queens, is how his hero instinct is awakened. Not by telling him he's needed, but by becoming the kind of woman whose love is no longer guaranteed. Beautiful woman, you were never meant to scream your worth. You were meant to walk in it. Let your stillness speak. Let your presence teach him what words never could. Write this in the comments and claim it now. I embody my worth in silence. Let the world know you're done explaining. You are now living as the queen you were always meant to be. We are here, working every day to bring you life-changing lessons, because your reign is not just coming, it has already begun. Number 4. He cannot protect what he doesn't feel he could lose. Have you ever noticed that a man doesn't fight for what he thinks will always be there? He doesn't guard what feels permanent. He doesn't rise for what he assumes won't walk away. The truth is sharp. He cannot protect what he doesn't feel he could lose. If he believes your love is forever available, no matter how he acts, no matter how many times he fails you, he won't see the need to step up. And that is where you stop chasing. That is where everything begins to change. A quiet woman who knows her worth is more powerful than a loud one begging for attention. When you become still, when you stop proving yourself, when you stop reminding him of who you are, he starts to feel the shift. He may not say it out loud, but deep inside, he senses something slipping, something precious, something rare. You. There's a saying, gold is guarded because it's rare. Stones lie around unprotected. What does that mean for love? It means when he starts to believe you are too strong to beg, too proud to wait, too powerful to be taken for granted, his instinct to protect, to pursue, to rise, awakens. That is the hero instinct. Not triggered by your words, but by your quiet withdrawal, by your glow that no longer needs him to shine, by your energy that says, If he wants to keep you, he better start showing up like a man who deserves you. Think of a flame. If you cup it gently and protect it, it grows. But leave it unattended, it fades. You were his warmth, his comfort, his light. And if he stops seeing the risk of losing that fire, he becomes careless. But the moment you stop burning for him, the cold sets in, and he feels it. That's when the hero wakes up, not to rescue you, but to earn you back. Dear woman, you are not here to convince. You are not here to beg. You are here to be chosen, and only the man who sees your worth without reminders deserves your heart. You are not the fallback plan. You are the final destination. Queens, write this in the comments and claim it. If he wants to keep me, he must feel the risk of losing me. Let that be your power, your peace, your promise. And if this message stirred something inside you, if it reminded you that you are not here to be overlooked, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are working hard to create real, life-changing lessons just for you. You were never meant to be background. You were always meant to reign. Number 5. When your energy shifts, his mind won't rest. Have you ever noticed how the loudest shift happens in silence? Not with arguments, not with tears, but in that moment when your energy changes, and he can't explain why he suddenly feels restless, unsure, even haunted. He doesn't hear words from you anymore, but he feels the shift. The warmth is gone. The light feels dimmer. And that peace you used to bring, it no longer surrounds him. He doesn't know what changed, but he knows something did. That's what happens when your energy shifts. His mind won't rest, no matter how calm he pretends to be. A wise soul once said, "You don't have to move mountains. Sometimes all it takes is removing your energy, and the silence will do the talking." That's how you trigger something deep inside him, not by shouting, not by chasing, but by turning inward, by focusing on yourself, by no longer being emotionally available at his convenience. That change in your presence is like a light switch. Once it's off, he realizes how much it mattered. Think of a room filled with music, beautiful, soft, comforting. You get used to it. You don't notice how powerful it is until one day it stops, and suddenly the silence feels heavy. That's what your energy does to him. You were that music. He didn't know how much space your presence filled until it's gone. Now he walks through his days, wondering why everything feels so quiet, so empty. That's not just silence. That's you, no longer feeding his soul. He might try to distract himself. He might even act like everything is fine, but his heart knows better. His heart feels the shift. He starts thinking about the way you used to look at him, the peace your voice carried, the steady love you gave without needing to speak. And now there's nothing but space. And that space, it speaks louder than any words ever could. You didn't have to scream. You didn't have to explain. You simply became the woman who knows her value, the woman who walks with quiet power. And queens, this is your moment, not to wait, not to chase, but to reign. Let your energy be the echo that never leaves his mind. Write this in the comments and claim it. My silence shifts everything. Beautiful queens, let the world know. When you take your power back, the game changes. We are here, creating real, powerful, life-changing lessons for you, for your rise, for your reign. Number 6. You are the mirror he didn't know he needed until you stop reflecting him. Have you ever seen a mirror that doesn't just reflect an image, but shows someone who they could be? That's what you were for him. You didn't just see him. You believed in him. You stood beside him when he was unsure of himself. You loved him through his silence, his doubts, his flaws. You became his mirror, the one that made him feel seen, powerful, even capable of being more. But he didn't realize it. He looked into you, drew strength from you, and still forgot who was holding that mirror. And now, you've stopped reflecting. You've gone quiet. And that silence? That's the moment he begins to feel everything he took for granted. You don't always need to speak to be heard. Sometimes your absence is louder than your voice. That's the power of stillness. When you stop being his mirror, he suddenly has to face himself. And what he sees, it's not as strong, not as steady, not as complete, because the light he once saw came from you. He starts remembering how you believed in him before he believed in himself, how your presence made him feel like more of a man. And now that the mirror is gone, he can't find that version of himself anymore. Think of a lighthouse. It stands tall, it shines in silence. Ships don't hear it speak, but they follow its light. Now imagine that light suddenly turns off. The sea feels different. The silence is unsettling. That's you. You were the light, guiding him back to himself. But now, you've gone quiet. You've pulled back, not in anger, but in power. And without your glow, he's lost at sea, searching for what he didn't value when it was right in front of him. But this isn't just about what he lost. It's about who you're becoming, because you were never meant to be just a mirror for him. You were meant to shine on your own, to be your own lighthouse, your own fire, your own force. And when you finally live like the queen you were always meant to be, unshaken, glowing, unbothered, that's when everything changes. That's when he sees what he can't reach anymore. This is your moment. Rise higher, stand stronger, glow brighter. You are no longer his reflection. You are your own vision. Write this in the comments and claim it, queens. I am no longer his mirror. I am my own light. We're working hard to create these powerful, life-changing lessons just for you, because your reign begins now. Number 7. A man's hero instinct awakens not when you say, "I need you," but when he realizes you never did. Have you ever noticed how quiet power speaks the loudest? How a woman can say absolutely nothing and yet shift everything around her? That's not weakness. That's not coldness. That's what makes him turn around and wonder, what did I just lose? You don't have to say, "I need you," to make him step up. In fact, the moment he believes you never really needed him at all, that's when his hero instinct finally wakes up. He doesn't rise when you hold his hand through every failure. He doesn't change when you beg for love, when you keep showing him that you're always there, no matter how he treats you. But the moment you stop chasing, the moment you stand still with calm in your heart and peace in your eyes, that's when he feels the shift. And that shift, it shakes him, because he realizes, maybe for the first time, that you were never weak. You were just waiting to rise. Strength doesn't roar. Sometimes it's the quiet decision to never shrink again. And that's where your power begins. Not in needing him, but in needing you. When you put your energy back into your life, your peace, your glow, he starts to notice the emptiness where your light used to be. That's when he feels it. That pull, that need to step up, to be worthy, to matter again. Imagine a flame, a soft, steady flame that lights the room. When it's taken for granted, ignored, assumed to be permanent, it dims. And when that light vanishes, the entire room feels it. That's what you are. You were his warmth, his center, his safe place. But now, he's sitting in the dark, wondering why it feels so cold. And maybe right now, you feel like you gave too much. That's okay. You were loving, you were real. But now it's time to stop trying to be everything for him and start becoming everything for you. Because once he sees that you never truly needed saving, that's when he starts wanting to earn you. Dear woman, this is your awakening. You are not waiting, you are not hoping, you are becoming. And what you're becoming, it's what he never expected, and exactly what he'll never forget. Write this in the comments and claim it. I never needed him. He needed to earn me. Queens, let your presence do the talking. Let your silence pull him in. If this message reminded you of the power you hold, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're here, building a kingdom of strength, truth, and transformation just for you.